Hi everyone, it's Michelle from Country Morning Creations, and I'm here with day 4. There we go. Day 4 of the 12 days of junk journal gifts and tutorials. Today is how to use up old greeting cards. Now, I actually don't have any old greeting cards, but I did have some of these cards that are just, it says tender thoughts, and I got these at the dollar store. I picked these up. So I thought I'll go over a couple of real quick ideas, and then I am going to show you how to make a tag out of this. So some of the things I thought about is you can take these greeting cards, you can cut them very thin, make them into bookmarks. You can use these as pockets inside of a journal. You can use them as part of a collage and do some collaging on it. These are actually even really pretty to put on the front of a journal. So if you're trying to maybe do a collage piece, you don't want to use up all your real pretty papers. These little dollar store, I think they were 12 for $1. They're really inexpensive. So you could do that. If you have a greeting card maybe that is extra special to you, you could even frame it. So lots of different ideas. Today I am going to just simply make a tag. The first thing I'm going to do is cut this card apart right down the center seam. So it looks like that. And we're cutting the rest of that off. And then I'm going to get out my Sizzix Big Shot. This is something that I really love. I've used it a lot. And if you're not sure how it works, it comes with, this is called the Extended Multi-Purpose Platform. I use this because this is the Big Shot, so it's bigger than a lot of them. And then I'm using a set of, these are Tim Holtz Sizzix. These are the tag cutters. So this makes this really easy. I already selected a size. So I'm going to actually set this aside for a moment real quickly. These are thinlits, so we're going to simply build everything right on top of this, but there are other pages and things that you open it up depending on how thick it is. You can see it's probably getting to be time for me to get a few new ones of these. They are pretty well chewed up. But that's okay, we're going to use it today. And so as you can see, I simply am building my sandwich, if you will. This is the part that will actually cut, and that needs to go down. And I think I'm going to move this over towards one end, so I have a little bit of extra left over, and I'll show you something else we can do with that. There are magnetic platforms. I think those work really well because then you're not worried about things getting moved. This is a real easy one. I know that there's all kinds of fancier ones out there, but I like how simple this is to use. So we simply get it started, and we're simply going to, don't worry about the cracking noise. That frightened me the first time that happened. And we're just going to roll it back through the other way just to make sure everything came out and was cut perfectly. All right, I'm going to set that aside now. And there are other options as well for making tags. There is actually also what is called, We Are Memory Keepers actually makes a tag punch board as well. For today, I wanted to use this, and then we're actually going to use this to punch the hole at the top for our tag. So we're going to, one of the things I like to use this for is this lines up at least the hole correctly. So you can see, I don't know if you can see on here, that is the middle because you've got this dotted line and this dotted line. And all I'm going to do, this is going to make a really small hole, but it at least gives me the middle, and I could leave that if I wanted. However, I do want to make a slightly larger hole. So I'm going to grab my handy dandy hole punch and just punch this hole just slightly bigger, but at least now I know I'm getting it in the middle. when I first started making these, I was terrible about getting things in the middle. So now I have a center hole, and I think I have a variety of these. I don't know that that's going to work real well. One of the things that I can do though is grab one of my distress oxides and maybe color one of these. Let's see if we can find one. Ooh, peacock feathers. That one looks like that would go really, really well with this. And so I'm going to just grab a little sponge and a Tim Holtz. This is one of the pieces, and I'm just going to trade this out. And I'm going to take this Distress ink. Oh, golly, that is such a gorgeous color. And just rub it on some of these holes like this. Across the bottom here. And they don't have to be perfect. And you can see that I've now done this on here. The nice thing is this will probably come right off with some water. So what I'm going to do now is just take one of these and put it right there. So now we've got that finished piece, and I'm going to we're going to decorate this a little bit. So I want to use this piece from that set, and I am going to grab for this part my parchment paper. And we're going to just glue this piece down onto the top of this tag with a little bit of my glue stick. I'm going to use my Elmer's Extreme this time. This has a little bit of a shiny surface to it, so I'm a little bit concerned that this will not stick real well. So that's why I wanted to go with the Extreme. I think it's going to really hold it well. And I'm just going to center it on here. Again, if you have watched videos 1, 2, and 3, you'll know that I am using, this is from a printable kit called Cheery Pastels by Linda Israel and Noella Bouchard of Calico Collage. And so these are part of that printable, so this whole set will all go together. And then the last little part is to take a wee bit of ribbon and put that up through the tag. This is probably too much ribbon. Let's take it down a little bit more. Let's go about here. And again, I am simply going to fold this in half, stick it through the hole, pull it through a little bit. May have made this a wee bit too short. Let's see if we can do this still. And we're going to stick those in through there. Let's see if I can pull them. There we go. And we pull them, and now we have this adorable little tag. One of the other things that you can do with this leftover piece, you know me, I like to use my paper cutter because that way then I know I have it perfectly straight. And I don't want to mess that up. So I am going to cut this at about the 1 1/4 mark on my cutter. I guess I could do it the other way and then you would see actually what I'm doing. So that is the 1 inch mark. I'm going to use, actually I think I am going to use the 1 inch mark for this. And no, I want to use the 1 1/2 inch mark, the 1 1/4 inch mark. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with this little bit of leftover now. So I take the little bit of leftover, and then what I'm going to do is, actually, let me just do this. I'm going to keep this out because I'm going to make these at the 2 inch mark. I'm going to simply cut that off, and I'm going to cut this one off at the 2 inch mark as well, and that will just leave a wee bit left over, I believe. And it does. So now I have those two smaller pieces. They're about 1 inch by 2 inch. And you may have already guessed where I'm going with this. But then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to simply cut the corners. so that they're rounded. And now, with that leftover piece, I have a ticket. So it's really easy to just take that, and we're just cutting out the corners with the rounded part of our hole punch. And now I have tickets that I can use in doing my collaging. So probably use these for tomorrow. I think tomorrow is, no, eventually I'm going to do some embellishments, and I'll probably use these in that. So for now, I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial on what to do with your old greeting cards. They are great for making tags. It's a nice sturdy tag. So that was my thought. Again, you can also make pockets. You can do all kinds of other things with them as well. But this was my idea for today, is to make a tag out of it. So I hope that you've enjoyed this day. This was day 4, how to use up old greeting cards. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've seen something that inspires you to be creative.